Hawking.
The country's borders are open again today to international travelers who are fully vaccinated.
People haven't been able to visit family in the US.
Plus, new information tonight on the details surrounding the Houston Music Festival that left 8 dead.
We want to look at every single detail, looking at the site plans, the security plans.
And in sports, men and women's basketball tip off their regular seasons tomorrow night. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening, I'm Will Price, and welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio. The Ohio Healthcare Association reports just over 55% of workers in the nursing homes they represent are vaccinated against COVID-19, despite efforts to educate and encourage workers to get the shots. Now the Biden administration is going to require all employees at nursing homes receiving federal funds to get vaccinated by January 4th. Pete Van Runkle, who is a part of the Ohio Healthcare Association, fears nursing home workers who have not gotten COVID shots might quit facilities that are already short-staffed and doing very necessary work. Van Runkle says he personally thinks some workers might relent, but it is unclear how many. The number who choose to quit could have a substantial impact, though nationwide, the vast majority of workers under vaccine mandates have complied. Roughly 5,000 Ohioans per day are getting COVID vaccines right now. West Virginia's Governor Jim Justice announced grandparents who are the primary caregivers for children 5 to 11 will receive a $150 school voucher, if they are vaccinated against COVID-19. The voucher is through the Healthy Grandfamilies Vaccination Incentive Program. For families to receive a voucher, they must be enrolled in West Virginia State University's Grandfamilies program at healthygrandfamilies.com. All vaccine-eligible members of the family must have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. The vouchers can be used for school supplies. The U.S. reopens its borders today for fully vaccinated international visitors, ending a ban on foreign travelers that started more than a year ago. The opening is a change for families who were separated by the pandemic and a sign of hope for the travel industry. CNN's Richard Quest reports.
These are the routes that keep the global economy moving. For more than 18 months, they've been painfully quiet. Back at the start of the COVID pandemic, then President Donald Trump announced he was banning most travel into the United States. Few would have predicted that ban would last for most of 2021 as well. Most travelers, some from the United States' closest allies, barred from visiting. For loved ones, that means separated by borders, months of heartache. And for the airlines, it spelt financial disaster.
We keep outlining the economic impact of staying closed and the human impact. So there's a lot of people haven't been able to visit family in the US, they haven't been able to reunite. You know, both countries have huge amounts of foreign direct investment going both ways, and that's going to be impacted by this impasse.
As COVID levels ebbed and flowed and vaccinations began to be rolled out, the US position did not change, much to the frustration of European leaders. The travel ban seriously harms vital economic and human ties at a time when they're most needed, tweeted the EU ambassador in Washington. And Americans were able to travel overseas, with some restrictions like vaccination, testings or quarantines. I'm a UK citizen, so I could fly from New York to London on JetBlue's inaugural trip, and it was packed. The return journey, because I'm a green card holder, I could travel, not so. Because Brits, even those fully vaccinated, are not allowed into the United States, well, this plane, it's about a quarter full. All in all change on Monday. Vaccinated travellers finally able to visit the land of the free. Separated families, a moment to cherish. And for the global economy, a sign that things may be getting closer to normal. Richard Quest, CNN, New York.
The Ohio Department of Health announced 59.2% of Ohioans over the age of 5 started the vaccination process, and 51% of eligible Ohioans are now fully vaccinated. For more information on locations offering the free vaccination to those of over 5 years of age, visit gettheshot.coronavirus.ohio.gov. Cabell Huntington Hospital administrators began bargaining again today at noon to try and reach an agreement with service union workers who have been on strike since Wednesday. WSAZ reports management and members of the SEIU 1199 had been in contract negotiations for months when an agreement could not be reached by the deadline of midnight on last Tuesday. This led to hundreds of employees walking off the job. The hospital says all clinical areas in the emergency department are accessible and ready to care for patients. The election board for Ohio's most populous county is being put under administrative oversight by the Secretary of State. According to the state elections chief, a problem with Franklin County's electric poll books led to 3 improperly cast votes in last week's election. The Secretary of State's office says not all of Franklin County's electronic poll books were properly updated with data about who had already voted early or requested an absentee ballot. It states 3 people voted twice, but that did not affect any election outcomes. The county board now will have to report weekly to the Secretary of State as an extra step of oversight. Now to Ashley for the weather.
Hi everyone, I am forecaster Ashley Ziegler, and right now in Athens we have a temperature of 56 degrees and clear dark skies as sun set at 5:21 p.m. today since we went back an hour this weekend. Humidity will be at 56% and winds will be blowing from the southwest of 3 miles an hour. As we move into the regional temps right now, as you can see, most of the area is seeing temps anywhere from the lower 50s, 52 in New Martinsville, to the upper 50s, 56 in Ironton and Chillicothe, 57 up in Columbus. And here, as we take a look at a week ahead, sunny start to the week, temps will be back in the upper 60s, and rain chances will start up Thursdays. Back to Will.
A new bridge in northeastern Kentucky is expected to open this month. It will replace a 1930s-era viaduct and ease congestion at the approach to an Ohio River bridge. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet says the new Kentucky 244 and Flyover Design Bridge in downtown Russell are scheduled to be fully open the week of November 15th. Governor Andy Beshear ceremonially cut the ribbon last week. The project caps a $110 million Ohio-Kentucky investment that began in 2012 when ground was broken on the $80 million Ironton, Ohio-Russell Bridge. That bridge opened 5 years ago. And in Marietta, a landslide repair project will begin on November 15th on Road 10 at the Tar Hollow State Park. The Ohio Department of Transportation announced in a news release that the road will be closed between State Route 327 and South Bridge Road. The estimated reopening date is December 15th. An inmate will soon get compensation for injuries sustained during his local time at a prison. And a criminal investigation has begun after chaos broke out during a Houston music festival over the weekend. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
On Secrets of the Dead.
The Hindenburg's horrible end has shocked the entire world.
Now, more than 80 years later, the list of failures that led to the tragedy can be revealed.
The testing was not very adequate at all.
The money that the Nazis gave had strings attached.
The use of hydrogen did make this airship a ticking time bomb.
Hindenburg's fatal flaws. On Secrets of the Dead.
The way home is different for everyone.
You don't believe that you're truly on that bird.
Everything could go wrong. Oh my God, what if they shoot us out of the sky?
They put some red paint on me. You're a warrior now. I didn't expect that kind of a welcoming.
I felt so guilty, survivor's guilt.
In your imagination, you're just going to get out of the military and you're going to live happily ever after. Unfortunately, things creep out of your past.
Southeast Ohio football is back and better than ever in 2021, and Gridiron Glory has you covered with the latest stories and award-winning coverage from around the region. Tune in Fridays at 11:30 p.m. and Saturdays at 11:30 a.m. to find out who's bringing the glory all season long. You can catch all this season's action at woub.org/gridiron, or stay up to date and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Get ready, and remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
How do you heal of a senseless murder, of an officer killing your son in the middle of the street?
Put your lighters up for Mike Brown.
This was going to be bigger than it looked.
Nobody woke up that morning when their loved one was dying and say, hey, I want to be the face of the movement.
Losing a child is hard. We have to do things that build us back up. The death of my son did do change. It's just the beginning.
Ferguson Rises, Monday, November 8th at 10 on Independent Lens.
A court filing says the state has agreed to pay $17.5 million to settle a lawsuit brought by an Ohio inmate who was paralyzed during a takedown by prison guards. Former prisoner Seth Fletcher was serving a 2-year sentence at the Chillicothe Correctional Institution in southern Ohio in April 2020 when his attorney states he was tackled, handcuffed, and dropped by guards. The 21-year-old Fletcher was left paralyzed from the chest down with a spinal cord injury from the incident. A settlement in Fletcher's federal civil rights lawsuit against the prison's agency was announced last week. The prison spokesperson, Joe Ellen Smith, said the parties agreed to settle and the terms were being worked out. Horror at a Houston music festival took place over the weekend. After the crowd surged toward the stage on Friday night, multiple people were crushed and killed. Britt Conway has the latest on the investigation.
Astro World, a 2-day music festival headlined and organized by rapper Travis Scott, with tens of thousands of people packed in to party. Now, a criminal investigation after the crowd surged toward the stage, crushing people up front.
There was just nowhere to go and no air to breathe.
There were pleas to stop the concert.
I was right next to a pretty strong chair of stop the show and help us.
Dozens were hurt and at least 8 people were killed. But how did this happen?
That's the question that we're working feverishly to determine. We want to look at every single detail, looking at the site plans, the security plans, talking with the producers of this concert, Live Nation.
One concert goer who says he was knocked down and trampled filed a lawsuit against Travis Scott, entertainment company Live Nation, and concert promoters Scoremore, among others, saying they, quote, made the conscious decision to let the show go on despite the extreme risks of harm to concert goers, pointing to people being trampled in a stampede through the gate earlier in the day, along with incidents at other Travis Scott concerts. He says he's in shock too.
I'm honestly just devastated.
I'm Britt Conway, reporting.
According to a statement released Monday by a representative of the rapper, he will pay for funeral costs for all 8 of the victims who died at his Astroworld festival. Scott will also partner with BetterHelp to provide free mental health services for all those affected by the tragedy. Heart failure affects more than 6 million adults in the U.S., but people suffering with heart failure symptoms may have a new light of hope. Doctors say a treatment was performed in the U.S. for the first time.
After months of struggling with shortness of breath, Robert Dye knew something was wrong.
I couldn't lay flat on my back because I couldn't breathe at night.
In October, he was admitted to the hospital and diagnosed with acute decompensated heart failure. Cardiologists at The Ohio State University Richard M. Ross Heart Hospital say the 65-year-old is the first patient in the U.S. to get a new type of treatment for it.
I can actually feel my heart beating in my chest, which I wasn't able to do before.
A catheter was placed through a vein in his neck and into Dye's heart, where electrodes were used to stimulate a nerve. Doctors say early studies show this can increase how strong the heart beats to pump more blood without significantly raising a patient's heart rate.
By increasing the amount that the heart is naturally doing, we can then start to repair his heart using medications and other treatments that we have available.
Dr. Sita Ramesh Amani and his team performed Dye's investigative procedure. While the treatment is still being studied, he says this could be a huge step forward in helping heart failure patients.
Traditional therapies aren't well designed to increase the amount of blood flow from the heart. The couple that we do have out there have a lot of side effects.
Days after the procedure, before leaving the hospital, Dye says he was able to walk a mile.
It gave me a second chance at life. If it hadn't been done, I wouldn't be here today.
A chance at more time with his great-grandchild. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The clinical trial is expected to continue for the next couple of years at the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center. After that, doctors hope to expand it to become more of a standard therapy. A social media app gave a teenager knowledge that helped save her life after she was kidnapped. That story's still ahead.
Hi everyone, we had a beautiful weekend here in Southeast Ohio, but will these conditions continue into the start of the work week? Find out more in my full forecast, but for now, let's take a look at stocks of local interest.
Southeast Ohio football is back and better than ever in 2021, and Gridiron Glory has you covered with the latest stories and award-winning coverage from around the region. Tune in Fridays at 11:30 p.m. and Saturdays at 11:30 a.m. to find out who's bringing the glory all season long. You can catch all this season's action at woub.org/gridiron or stay up to date and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Get ready and remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
The way home is different for everyone.
You don't believe that you're truly on that bird.
Everything could go wrong. Oh my God, what if they shoot us out of the sky?
They put some red paint on me. You're a warrior now. I didn't expect that kind of a welcoming.
I felt so guilty. Survivor's guilt.
In your imagination, you're just going to get out of the military and you're going to live happily ever after. Unfortunately, things creep out of your past.
Art is important because it shows who we were, where we came from.
Through my art, I'm creating a more powerful woman within myself.
Inspiration is everywhere. It's important that we learn our culture, our practices. We are tied to the land. That's our blood. That's where we come from.
How do you heal of a senseless murder, of an officer killing your son in the middle of the street?
Put your lighters up for Mike Brown.
This was going to be bigger than it looked.
Nobody woke up that morning when their loved one was dying and say, hey, I want to be the face of the movement.
Losing a child is hard. We have to do things that build us back up. The death of my son did do change. It's just the beginning.
Ferguson Rises, Monday, November 8th at 10 on Independent Lens.
Hi everybody, welcome back. We'll take a look at the service analysis for today. And as you can see, there is a high pressure system sitting to our southeast in West Virginia. This high pressure system caused the beautiful weather that we saw this weekend, as well as what we'll see today, tomorrow, and Wednesday as well. And additionally, you can see there is this blue line, which is a cold front up here in Michigan and northern Illinois. It'll be moving through our area later this week, Thursday night, bringing cooler temperatures and chance of rain showers. As we look at our hour by hour for tonight, 8 p.m. we'll be at 53 degrees, steady cooling to 45 by midnight. Humidity will rise as those temps drop, and we will have calm southwest winds. As we look at Athens tonight, we'll have a low of 37, mostly clear skies, winds from the southwest, and a pressure of 30.25 inches of mercury, which means we are under a high pressure because our benchmark is 30.00 inches of mercury. As we look at the regional lows for tonight, everyone will be seeing temps in the upper 30s to borderline 40s, 40 in New Lexington, Columbus, and Ironton, 37 in Athens. As we move into our hour by hour for tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. we'll have a temp of 40 degrees. It'll rapidly warm up to 61 by midnight, an increase of 20 degrees in a span of 4 hours. Definitely you'll need a coat if you're heading out at 8 a.m. and probably won't need it when you're heading home in the afternoon. Humidity will decrease and cloud cover will increase. As we move into Athens tomorrow, we'll have a high of 66 degrees. Sunrise will be at 7:11 a.m. So bright and early morning from here on out since we went back an hour in time this weekend. Humidity will be at 46%, relatively dry, and winds will be from the southwest between 0 and 5 miles an hour. Here are the regional highs for the area. Mid to upper 60s is expected for the area. 65 in New Lexington, 66 in Athens, 69 in Ironton and Ripley with sunny skies. As we move into our 7-day forecast, you can see on Tuesday we'll have a high of 67, and those 60s will linger till Saturday when we drop down to 41 degrees, which will linger out through the weekend. So definitely will need a coat if you're doing anything, heading out anytime this weekend. Cold front will move in Thursday, bringing a chance of rain for Thursday and Friday, and lows will be in the 40s and 30s. Back to Maria, or Will, sorry.
No worries, thank you, Ashley. The app TikTok is often criticized for motivating dangerous behavior, but it may have saved a life. A 16-year-old girl from North Carolina who was kidnapped and taken across state lines by a 61-year-old man is now reunited with her family. Deputies in Kentucky saw motorists saw the girl using a hand signal for help that she learned on TikTok. Chad Hedrick tells the story.
It's one of those times where social media is a good thing. The hours some can spend on trending sites like TikTok now being credited with saving a teen girl's life.
There was some people behind her that noticed that she was making hand gestures that signifies for "I need help." And with them recognizing that signal, they notified 911.
Deputies say the girl had gone missing from her Asheville, North Carolina home Tuesday. She was in a car going south on I-75, driven by James Herbert Brick. The two were coming back from Ohio when someone in another car noticed the girl's signals and called 911.
We don't know how long coming down the interstate from Ohio that she had been doing this to other motorists, hoping that they would notice that she was in distress.
This is the video that started the trend. It came from the Canadian Women's Foundation, but has spread around the world.
I've been doing this work for a long time, where we talk about safety with survivors, with neighbors, like how you flip your light on, or do you have a certain code word if you text it to somebody that would say that you need help or in danger. So there's always been these trends towards finding safety from community, and I think this is another platform to do so.
Darlene Thomas is the executive director of Greenhouse 17, an advocacy group for abuse victims.
And I also find it incredible that as a community, as a society, we're paying attention. We're taking care of each other. So we can't do it if we don't speak the same language.
A universal language of needing help and being able to notice the signals.
We're all in our own little worlds thinking about where we're going, what we're going to be doing. Maybe we just need to take notice and see what's going on around us.
Because a minor was taken across state lines, the FBI is taking over the abduction case against James Herbert Brick.
Coming up in sports, Ohio football prepares to hit the road for some midweek action against Eastern Michigan. And right after the break, Ohio men's basketball is ready to start its regular season tomorrow night. Hear from the head coach coming up next on Newswatch. And be sure to stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
The way home is different for everyone.
You don't believe that you're chewing on that bird.
Everything could go wrong. Oh my God, what if they shoot us out of the sky?
They put some red paint on me. You're a warrior now. I didn't expect that kind of a welcoming.
I felt so guilty. Survivor's guilt.
In your imagination, you're just going to get out of the military and you're going to live happily ever after. And unfortunately, things creep out of your past.
How do you heal of a senseless murder, of an officer killing your son in the middle of the street?
Put your lighters up for Mike Brown.
This was going to be bigger than it looked.
Nobody woke up that morning when their loved one was dying and say, hey, I want to be the face of the movement.
Losing a child is hard. We have to do things that build us back up. The death of my son did do change. It's just the beginning.
Ferguson Rises, Monday, November 8th at 10 on Independent Lens.
Southeast Ohio football is back and better than ever in 2021. and Gridiron Glory has you covered with the latest stories and award-winning coverage from around the region. Tune in Fridays at 11:30 p.m. and Saturdays at 11:30 a.m. to find out who's bringing the glory all season long. You can catch all this season's action at woub.org/gridiron or stay up to date and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Get ready and remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Art is important because it shows who we were, where we came from.
Through my art, I'm creating a more powerful woman within myself.
Inspiration is everywhere. It's important that we learn our culture, our practices. We are tied to the land. That's our blood. That's where we come from.
Hi everybody, I'm Maria Manessi. Ohio men's basketball opens up its regular season tomorrow night against Belmont. Fans saw the first taste of Bobcat basketball action Saturday in a scrimmage ahead of the season opener. Ohio defeated Capital 92-66. Tommy Schmock led the Bobcats offensively with 17 points. 3 other Bobcats finished with double-digit points. Tomorrow is the Bobcats' first regular season game following a historic season last year. Jeff Bowles says he is excited for the challenge in Game 1.
You know, last year it was like they played the Illinois game, and we kind of compared the Virginia game. So that gave us a lot of confidence going into Virginia in the NCAA tournament. And I told our guys, you know, you're playing a Belmont team who's a top, 30, 40 team. So you're looking at like a 6, 7 seed. So really this is like an NCAA tournament game from Game 1.
Tip-off is scheduled for 7 p.m. tomorrow at the Convo. Ohio women's basketball also begins its season tomorrow night. The Bobcats head on the road to play Notre Dame. Ohio defeated the number 22 Fighting Irish 86-85 last year. It was the program's first victory over a ranked team. The Bobcats have all 5 starters returning from last season's semifinal run in the MAC tournament. Tip-off is scheduled for 7 p.m. from South Bend, Indiana. Ohio football heads to Ypsilanti ahead of its game against Eastern Michigan. The Bobcats are coming off a big victory over Miami last week. The Eagles also picked up a win against MAC West foe Toledo to become bowl eligible. The Eagles are just one of the several strong teams in the conference. And Ohio head coach Tim Albin says he recognizes the parity across the MAC.
And I say it about every week, top to bottom, our league, this is the most balanced it's been. And I haven't been one to say that in my time. There's a couple of front runners on each side, and that's kind of usually how it plays out. And then you just got to be prepared when you go on the road in our league.
Kickoff is scheduled for 8 p.m. and the game will be on ESPN2. Ohio hockey is coming off 3 big wins last week. Ohio knocked off Robert Morris Thursday 7-3. Drew Magyar completed a hat trick in the win. Ohio welcomed in Western Michigan Friday night to Bird Arena. The Bobcats outshot the Stallions 60-15, and several different players scored en route to a 10-2 win. The Bobcats travel to play at Liberty Friday and Saturday with puck drop at 7 p.m. The Cleveland Browns got a much-needed win yesterday when the team traveled to Cincinnati for the Battle of Ohio. Cleveland got things started early with a pick 6 off a pass from Joe Burrow. Denzel Ward ran it all the way back to the end zone for the 99-yard score. From there on, it was complete domination from the Browns as they went on to win 41-16 and the huge victory in the AFC North. Now we're going back to Will.
That does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Will Price. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news at woub.org. Have a great night.
Support comes from Dean Heating and Cooling. Stay warm this winter with energy-efficient TempStar heating. Dean Heating and Cooling provides HVAC services and installation in the Athens area, featuring TempStar quality you can feel. Support comes from Ohio University's Center for Campus and Community Engagement, fostering mutually beneficial partnerships between faculty, staff, and students and community organizations. More information at ohio.edu/community engagement.
Good evening, I'm Judy Woodruff. On the NewsHour tonight, the road ahead. The president celebrates passage of the massive infrastructure bill, but the status of the remainder of his agenda is uncertain. Then, tipping point. World leaders struggle to take meaningful steps to combat the ever-worsening global climate crisis. And Taliban takeover. Afghanistan's future looks bleak as the economic freefall and dire food shortage hit the poorest hardest.
Está como tú. Como tú estás.